Hi, and welcome to the WVU Football Sports Chat at thedpost.com. I'm Sean Manning here with our WVU football beat writer, Joey LaMonaco. Joey, two tough losses for WVU in a row, and it does not get any easier this week going to play the number 2 team in the country in Baylor, who historically has a very high-powered offense, and that doesn't seem to be any different this year.
So how do you stop them? The Mountaineers are pretty much the only team that has over the last really season and a half. That win last year kind of laid a good blueprint, and really the Mountaineers defense blitzed then quarterback Bryce Petty ad nauseum. They blitzed almost every play. They got him rattled early. A lot of defensive players that I talked to on Tuesday said that the Bears really hadn't seen that, and they maybe haven't seen it since. So an aggressive game plan on defense is going to be the key.
Going back to that 2014 game, how does WVU build off of that? What does that win last year do for them this year?
Well, sometimes that factor is overrated. For Baylor, it's revenge. For WVU, it's building off a marquee win last year. Neither side's really buying into that hype. Art Briles is like, you talk about revenge. Are we supposed to blame them for beating us? And it was kind of the same thing with Coach Holgorsen on Tuesday. That's going to happen every year. There's going to be a big upset win on a team's schedule. There's going to be an unexpected and inexplicable loss on a team's schedule. So building off it, I think there's particular things that WVU did well last year. Their secondary was banged up. Ricky Rump III came off the bench, played a great game. So if they can look to anything, it's those individual performances that the moment isn't too big for them just because they're down in Waco, Texas, playing against a second-ranked team in the FBS. That's what they can take from it, not so much the result.
And for the WVU offense, it's been inconsistent the past 2 weeks. In the first half against Oklahoma State, they didn't score anything, but in the second half they seem to get it going a little better, but not quite there. How do they find that consistency?
That's a good question. It's one that Holgorsen would love the answer to. It starts with Skylar Howard at quarterback, but it's not all Skylar Howard. You look at last week, he played well at times, finished with 188 yards passing. Once the protection got good in the second half, once he had some time in the pocket and wasn't running for his life, he played pretty well. So it's a combination of factors. It's a young receiving core that needs to learn their quarterback's cadences, how to come back and find Skylar Howard when he is on the run. It's pass protection being good enough, and it's a running game which really has been good. The one bright spot, if you could say, for this WVU offense over the last 2 weeks in which they've suffered back-to-back losses has been Wendell Smallwood, who last week he averaged nearly 9 yards per carry. He's averaging nearly 7 yards per carry on the season. Smallwood, and to a lesser extent Russell Shell, have really carried this offense.
Obviously, besides a win, which WVU would love to get, what would be a successful day, do you think, against the number 2 team in the country, other than getting the win?
Don't get blown out. You haven't yet this season if you're WVU, and if you go into Waco, you give the Bears a game, let's say you hold them under 40 points and you make it a 2-score game, you come out of there with your head held high. You have one more big game in October. Of course, if you talk to any of the WVU players or coaches, they're not going to tell you that. There are no moral victories in big-time Division I college football. But if you go into Waco, you limit the turnovers. You don't have any unforced errors, as they say in tennis. And you come out of there with a close game, even in a loss, you're still right in it.
All right, thank you, Joey. Be sure to check out more WVU football coverage at thedpost.com.